The Cold War and Canada don't usually seem to be associated with each other, but you would be surprised on how deeply they are connected. From contributions like the ill fated Avro Arrow to the establishment of Arctic bases, our nation had a major part in the subtlest conflict in history. Yorkton itself also played a part, and how it did so would become the worst kept secret in Yorkton history. I'm Hayden DeGrow, and I'm the Culture and Heritage Specialist for the City of Yorkton. I love learning history, and teaching people about Yorkton's past is a proud part of my job. Join me as I highlight fascinating people, places, and events from Yorkton's history and take you where these places can be found today. This is Yorkton Retold. In 1947, the Yorkton Air Training Base here was being decommissioned. Transport Canada, a federal ministry, received control of the base and turned it into a municipal airport. At the time, the runways were long enough that they could accommodate most small jetliners and all of the larger prop planes. However, this wasn't the end of air defense in Yorkton. Just as the base from World War II was changing hands, a new conflict was arising. But this conflict wouldn't involve any direct fighting, just a massive arms buildup. That war would become known as the Cold War, and it would dominate the latter half of the 20th century. Fought primarily between the Soviet Union and its allies, and the United States and its allies, the war encompassed many other conflicts, including the Korean War, the Vietnam War, as well as many civil uprisings through Africa, Central Asia, and Eastern Europe. It would also encompass things like the space race and the development of nuclear technology. While weapons like this cannon would become obsolete in favor of nuclear missiles and megabombs, Yorkton would still play a part. By the 1960s, Canada was a part of a defense alliance called NORAD, its full name being the North American Air Defense Command. Its purpose was to prevent airplanes and missiles from the Soviet Union, which were being suspected to carry nuclear warheads, from entering North American airspace. Canada, being the closest to Soviet airspace, built up a line of defenses and developed interceptor aircraft to take down the threats. Those defense lines are where Yorkton came into the fold, in particular, the Pine Tree Line. This was a line of early warning radar stations, all placed near the 50-degree line of latitude. These, combined with the other lines, kept a solid eye on the airspace over Canada. Yorkton's base, officially named CFS Yorkton and numbered Site C-51, was a full-fledged town unto itself. As seen in this incredible shot, the base had two radar domes containing Doppler radar that allowed them to track the speed and direction of aircraft and missiles. If the trackers found anything odd, the information was transferred to Air Force stations in Fortuna, North Dakota, and Great Falls, Montana, where they would take it from there. Surrounding the domes were a station guardhouse, a water well and treatment plant, a staff barracks building, a combined mess and dining hall, a fire hall, a chapel, 90 individual mobile houses, an engineering, construction, and mobile equipment and supply building, and a headquarters building. This is all powered by the base's own powerhouse, ensuring that the base would never be affected by power outages and remain on patrol 24/7. Not even the lightning we see here would be able to stop that radar. The community of houses and barracks would later be called White Spruce. Obviously, standing here, the place is not what it used to be. The Cold War began to cool down during the 1980s, and as such, the threat of nuclear annihilation by the Soviets was lessened. In March of 1985, Brian Mulroney's government began to reduce Canada's contribution to NORAD, and most of the Pine Tree Line was decommissioned. Here, the radar systems were removed, as well as the power station and the water treatment plant. The mobile homes were sold off in an Army surplus auction, leaving the remaining buildings alone. Soon after, the provincial government used the site as a treatment center for recovering addicts, and the place was officially renamed the White Spruce Youth Treatment Center. In 1998, this was changed over to a Youth Detention Center and renamed the Orcadia Youth Residence. This was later changed back to the White Spruce Center when the place was repurposed as a training center to help youth in detention centers rejoin society. Today, though I cannot enter the center, I can tell you that most of the original base's buildings are intact and are in very good condition. What started off as a military base has now gone on to serve the community it was built close to. While Yorkton seems like the last place you would expect nuclear war to have an influence on, the city did play a part in preventing one. Adding to Canada's massive contribution to NORAD's defenses, Yorkton's radar base was a prominent part for the city for years. While the Cold War is generally associated with the United States and the former Soviet Union, there were other nations at play, each adding to the massive chess game that was the Cold War. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. See you next time, History Buffs.